Okay, so imagine this for a second, right? The lights are going down, the audience is getting quiet, and there's all that anticipation in the air.
Right.
But before we see the actors, before anyone even steps on stage, who makes all that magic happen?
Good question.
That's what we're looking at today, taking a deep dive behind the curtain into the world of a theater technician. And let me tell you, it's way more than just knowing which button to push.
It really is. So much more.
Right. And to help us really understand what it takes to make it in this field, we're going to be looking at 3 different resources from RoleCatcher. It's like having backstage passes, but for building your career.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's landing a theater tech job and then really being amazing at it.
Oh, yeah.
So first up, let's talk about the RoleCatcher Career Guide for Theater Technicians. This is like our playbook for today.
It is. It's funny, even for me, and I've been doing this for years, there were things in there that surprised me. Like, I learned some new stuff, which is cool.
Oh, really? What was it that surprised you?
Well, it's really how much the role covers. You know, most people, they think about lights and sound.
Right, of course.
Which are a huge part of it.
For sure.
But it goes so much deeper than that. We're talking like building sets.
Wow.
Rigging all the lights, figuring out the sound, and don't even get me started on transporting all that equipment. Especially for those big touring shows. Imagine packing up an entire Broadway production.
Oh my gosh, I never even thought about that. So it's not enough to, I don't know, like run a light board or something. You have to be ready for anything and probably have some muscle to move those set pieces.
Oh, for sure. A lot of heavy lifting.
Right, which is probably where that whole thing about it being glitz and grit comes from.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's a perfect way to jump into the pros and cons because on one hand, you're part of something creative, always facing new challenges. Every production is unique, you know, but the guide's real about it those hours. Yeah, not your typical 9 to 5, late nights, weekends. It's just part of the deal.
It's the life, right? But then on top of all that, there's that pressure cooker of live theater. Everything has to be perfect because the show must go on. I saw a microphone go out during a musical once, mid-song. You could just feel the tension in the room. So being able to think quickly under pressure, that's got to be huge.
It's massive because things will go wrong. It's live theater. It happens. Which is why the guide stresses that whole problem-solving thing as a core skill. And it's important to remember you're not alone back there. Communication is so key, working with the director, knowing the stage manager's cues. It really is a team effort the whole way through.
It's like this perfectly timed dance, but with like wrenches and electrical tape instead of dancing shoes.
That's a great way to put it.
But okay, so besides all that, the guy gets into some really specific stuff about like the technical side of things. So we're talking electronics, rigging, sound engineering. It's a whole other language.
It is. You're learning a new language for sure.
Right, like a whole arsenal of specialized skills you have to have.
Absolutely. And getting those skills down, that can take you far in this business. The guide even talks about how you can go from starting out as, say, an entry-level technician all the way to, like, running the entire technical side of a theater. I mean, that's amazing. You could be overseeing every single part of a production.
Yeah.
From that very first design idea to the final curtain call.
That's incredible. So you've gone from, I don't know, like changing gels on a spotlight to basically calling the shots for this huge production.
Exactly, yeah.
It seems like there are so many ways to grow in this field, so much potential.
There really is, yeah. Tons of potential. But it's not just about moving up, you know, like climbing the ladder. As you get better at what you do and gain experience, what you're actually doing changes too. So you're not just dealing with equipment anymore. You might be handling budgets, leading a team, even making those big picture decisions that can affect the entire show.
So let's say you've put in the time, you're not afraid of a challenge or two. You're basically living and breathing theater, right?
Yeah.
But how do you convince a company that you're the one they need? That's where we look at how RoleCatcher can help you crush that interview.
Oh, yeah. And let me tell you, they don't mess around when it comes to getting you ready. They've got this crazy database of interview questions. I'm talking over 120,000. And a bunch of them are specifically designed for theater tech roles.
Wow, that's impressive. Thank goodness for that, right?
Right.
Because it can't just be about the classic, tell me about yourself, right?
No way. They go way deeper than that.
They have to.
They really want to get a sense of how you think on your feet. Like, one question that really stuck with me was, let's say the curtain's about to go up, you're about to start, and all of a sudden a spotlight just dies.
Ugh.
How do you handle that with all that pressure?
Oh, wow. Okay, so they're really throwing you right into the fire with that.
They are.
It's not just about knowing how to physically fix the spotlight.
Right.
It's about staying calm, figuring out what needs to happen first, and maybe even having a backup plan already in place.
Exactly. They want to know you can handle those unexpected moments. And let's be real, that's basically every day in the theater.
So true.
Another one I thought was really smart was, how do you make sure you're staying current with all the changes in theater technology?
Oh, that's a good one. Because, let's face it, technology changes so fast.
Constantly.
It just shows them you're really invested in your craft and want to stay ahead of the game.
Exactly. You have to be ready to learn and adapt all the time. It's true, at this industry,
Yeah.
it never really sits still, you know? There's always something new to learn, whether it's software for lighting or some new rigging technique I've never seen before. Speaking of learning, though, that's another place where RoleCatcher really impressed me with their practice stuff.
Oh, yeah, the practice interviews, right. I've heard those are really helpful.
They're amazing.
You can actually, record yourself answering questions, don't you?
You do. It's like having a dress rehearsal, but for your interview.
Exactly. Because it's one thing to, have answers in your head,
Right.
but to actually say them out loud,
Huge difference.
it is. And seeing yourself, your body language, it all adds up.
Oh, totally. And the best part is their AI thingy, the co-pilot, it'll give you feedback on your delivery. It's like having your own personal coach in your back pocket, giving you tips.
Wow. Now that's high tech.
Right.
It looks at everything, how fast you're talking, the words you're using, even if you're getting your point across clearly.
He's pretty wild.
Because sometimes it's not just what you say.
It's how you say it.
It's how you say it, exactly. Which, in theater, that's everything, right? Communication is key.
For sure, first impressions, they only come once. And speaking of first impressions, once you've totally nailed that interview, RoleCatcher's got your back again with their job searching tools. These things can really make your application stand out.
Okay, so tell me more about those. How do they actually work?
So, picture this. It's like one central hub, right? For all your job hunting stuff. RoleCatcher lets you keep track of everything, jobs from all these different sources, which, let's be real, in theater, that's a lifesaver. Because those dream gigs, they can pop up out of nowhere.
No kidding. So no more endlessly scrolling through job boards, hoping to get lucky.
Exactly.
Organization is key here, which, that makes sense given what we know about the life of a theater technician.
You got it. But honestly, one of the coolest things they have is the skills analysis tool.
Ooh, what's that?
It's so cool. So you upload your resume, right? Your CV, and then RoleCatcher, it goes to work. It looks at that and compares it to actual job descriptions, seeing how well your skills actually line up.
Oh, wow. So there's no more wondering if you have what they're looking for. That's really helpful.
It's amazing. But get this, it'll even point out any areas where your skills might not be as strong, or where you might need a little more experience, so you're not just showing off the good stuff. You're finding out where you can improve. And that gives you a real leg up in a competitive field.
It's like having a secret weapon for your job hunt.
Right. And RoleCatcher, they really have thought of everything. It's all about giving you the tools and the confidence to actually succeed,
They really have. They even have stuff to help you connect with people, to network better.
Oh, yeah. Networking is huge.
Which is so important in any job, but especially in theater. Right? It's all about collaboration.
100%. But I will say, even with all these incredible tools and resources, it's super important to remember that to really make it in theater tech, it takes more than just technical know-how.
It does, you're right.
You have to have passion, dedication, and that genuine love for this crazy, amazing art form.
I love that. So true. And that's something we haven't talked about as much, the why. What kind of impact can someone in this role actually have? Because you're not just changing a light bulb, you're helping to create a whole experience for people, right?
Exactly. Think about it. The feeling you get when the lights go down, the entire audience goes quiet, and then boom, a single spotlight illuminates the stage. Or how music can completely transport you right into the middle of the action, making you laugh, cry, everything.
Oh, absolutely.
Those moments, those feelings, they're all carefully created by those skilled technicians working behind the scenes.
True. I never thought about it like that.
Ugh.
It's like they're painting with light and sound,
Yeah.
Creating the entire mood and atmosphere that lets the story really come alive And don't even get me started on set design, turning an empty stage into a bustling city street or somebody's cozy living room. That's an art in itself.
It really is. And each one of those elements, they all work together to determine how the audience connects with what they're seeing. A really well-designed set, it pulls you into the world of the play. The lighting, it highlights those crucial moments, creates the mood, even hints at what might be coming next.
Wow, I never thought about it like that, but you're right. It's all connected.
It totally is.
Which just goes to show how collaborative this field really is, right? You're part of a team, all working together toward this shared vision.
Exactly. And that's why finding a company where you really click, where the culture is right for you, that's so important. You have to be able to work together seamlessly, share ideas openly, and be cool with feedback, whether it's good or bad.
Right, you have to be open to growing.
Yes. It's about finding a place where you can explore your creativity and bring your own unique skills and perspective to the table without feeling, shut down.
That makes sense, and that's where that whole networking thing comes in again, right? Like what RoleCatcher emphasizes.
It all ties together.
It's not just about finding jobs that are open. It's about connecting with people already working in theater, learning about different companies, what their values are, all of that.
It's so true. Going to industry events, reaching out to folks on LinkedIn, even just striking up conversations with technicians you admire, those little interactions can turn into big opportunities.
They can, and they can give you a real feel for a company's vibe.
Right.
You get to know their creative vision, how they treat the people who work for them, and that's huge when you're deciding where to put your time and energy where you really want to be.
No question. And you know what else can be a game changer? Mentorship.
Oh, definitely.
Finding someone who's been there, done that, who can give you advice, share their knowledge. Having someone like that in your corner can make all the difference as you figure out your own path.
Absolutely. Especially in a field as hands-on as theater tech. Having someone to learn from, to bounce ideas off of, I mean, that's priceless.
It's huge. And a lot of times that comes down to building real relationships, which is where, again, networking and being part of the theater community really pays off.
So let's say, like, someone's just starting out, right?
Yeah.
They're really into all this, but maybe feeling a little intimidated by, I don't know, like, the whole theater world. It's big. What would you tell them? Where do they even start?
I actually get that question a lot. And honestly, you don't have to jump right into the dream job at some big-time theater company straight out of the gate. Start small, be curious, volunteer at a local theater, the community ones, help out with a school play, anything. Even shadowing a technician for a day. Every little thing you do adds up, builds your skills.
Oh, totally. Plus, you're meeting people. So it's building that network too, right?
Exactly. And you never know, right? What might seem like a small gig now could lead to something amazing later on. That's how it happens.
It really is all about connections and experience, huh?
It really is. And here's something else to think about. Don't be afraid to try different things. You might start out, say, assisting with the lighting and then realize, wait, sound design is actually my jam.
Right.
Or maybe you're a natural leader, you love figuring out the logistics of a big production, making sure everything runs smoothly. That's the cool thing about theater tech. There's a place for everyone.
I love that.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you don't even know what you'll be really good at, what you'll love, until you try it out.
Right.
You know?
Totally. You got to get in there and figure it out as you go. And honestly, that's what's so awesome about this field. There's always room to grow, to explore, to figure out how you fit in, and what mark you want to leave on the world of theater.
So well said.
Mhm.
Okay, so for our listeners who are like totally fired up about this, ready to go after it, what are some practical things they can do right now to get started? We've talked about RoleCatcher, which is an amazing resource.
So helpful.
But what else? Like, how do you actually get ready for a career in theater tech?
Well, we've touched on this, but getting those technical skills down, that's key. And there are tons of ways to do that. You've got your traditional degree programs, vocational schools, online stuff, even workshops, or just teaching yourself. There are so many tutorials online.
Right. And don't forget, just messing around, figuring it out as you go.
The best way to learn sometimes.
Exactly. It's like any other skill, really the more you practice, the better you get.
Yeah, 100%. But, and I can't stress this enough, those technical skills, they're just one piece of the puzzle. You can't forget about what they call those soft skills. Things like communication, problem solving, being a team player, being adaptable.
Oh, for sure. And honestly, those are the things that will help you no matter what you do in any career, in life even.
So true. You're a more valuable asset to any team if you have those skills. But here's something I think is really important for people to hear. Theater, it's always changing. New tech comes out all the time. People are pushing boundaries creatively, audiences. what they expect changes too. You have to be willing to constantly learn to adapt.
Makes sense. Stay curious, be ready for anything, and never ever stop learning.
Perfectly said. And speaking of learning, never underestimate the power of just loving what you do. If you're genuinely excited by the thrill of a live performance, by that magic of making a creative vision real, by the energy of a whole team of people coming together to put on a show, then this path, this life in the theater, it might just be your calling.
Ooh, chills. I got chills. That's such a good point. It really is about finding that thing, that sweet spot where your passions and what you're good at come together. And when you do find it,
Magic, pure magic.
it's amazing. Well, this has been incredible. Thank you so much for taking us behind the curtain and giving us this glimpse into the world of a theater technician.
My pleasure.
I think we've learned so much, from the skills you need to the challenges you'll face and how to find your place in this incredible field. But really, what's stayed with me is the passion, that drive to create something truly special.
It's what keeps us all going.
It is. And for anyone listening who's feeling that spark, remember, RoleCatcher's got your back. They have tons of resources to help you every step of the way, from making your resume stand out to crushing those interviews and building those all-important connections. So what are you waiting for? Go for it. Embrace that curiosity. Never stop learning. And who knows, maybe you'll discover a whole world of backstage brilliance you never even knew you had.